Dun, 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 dun.
Every once in a while, you're freezing up.
I hope my internet works. And we are preparing to go live. But it could be live right now. You just never know. So we probably are live right now, but it doesn't really show us.
I've got a message here. It says meeting now streaming live on YouTube.
All right. We are streaming live on YouTube. That's awesome. Welcome, everyone. My name is Sean Symons, PPG Grandpa. This is a bonus episode. And my internet is unstable, so I apologize. Jerry Post, he posted a video on his PPC part 1 not too long ago where he and his wife crashed. So he got it all rendered up, ready to go live, but he wanted to talk about it before he posted it live on the internet. So this is a quick podcast talking about part 2 of Jerry Post crashing with his wife on the PPC. Welcome, Jerry, to the podcast. How are you?
Good. Very good. Thank you for having me here.
Great. Absolutely. Now, just so people know about you, and I'm also going to post this live link to our Facebook page. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what is PPC?
Well, first, let me say that what a PPC is, because it's a lot shorter version than the things that I've been involved in the past, couple decades. A PPC is a powered parachute, and a powered parachute is a 3-wheel vehicle that is an experimental aircraft that has a parachute as a wing. So I've taken this thing to air shows. If they're going to have a local air show at one of the airports around where I'm at, I'll go there, and with the parachute in the bag on the side of the machine, people will look at the machine and they'll say, "What is that? I mean, why are you here? It's got a big propeller on a giant go-kart or what?" But what it is a wing that you take out of this container. In this case, it's a big black canvas sack that sits on the side of the machine. And once it's out, then you put the PPC wing bag away where it's not going to interfere with anything you're doing. You put this parachute out behind your vehicle, and it's attached to the frame of the vehicle by Kevlar straps and also nylon paracord rope. And when you go forward, that wing comes up. Now, if we're going to play that video at any time tonight, Sean, the people watching will see the wing actually be laying on the ground and then come up. Regarding myself, I'm 64 years old. I just retired a couple years ago, 33 plus years in law enforcement, 30 plus as a deputy sheriff here in Southeast Wisconsin, a year in a couple other departments, and I was an MP in the Marine Corps back in the early 80s. So married, 2 kids. They're not kids anymore. They're 40 and 35. But nobody in the family has a pilot's license. My immediate family, and my brother, he's my youngest brother. He has a pilot's license, and he flies like a Cessna. So everybody thinks I was a little crazy when I bought the PPC, but it is was so much fun, so much fun. So
it sounds like it was a lot of fun, but you haven't flown since this last incident.
Yes, and there's lots of reasons why. It is definitely not because I'm afraid. I know that after I made the video and did the intro, I said something to the effect that I have not flown since this, I call it a crash. But actually, after it was repaired, had a brand new motor on it, I did take it up one time, kind of get back on the horse thing by myself, and I flew it, still enjoyed it, wanted to keep it, but I just couldn't feel comfortable flying around with something that might break again like that.
Right. So what we're going to do is we are going to go through your video before you post it live on the internet. And we want to show everybody what's going on and have the opportunity for people to ask questions if they want to ask questions, because this was, I don't know, was it controversial? Did we have a lot of views on it that was kind of like, why are you posting this on here? Because you only did the part one with kind of a cliffhanger, right?
Yes, I did that, and I'm really, in a way, I'm glad that I did it that way. I got a lot of likes, and people were. The only thing about it though is that they were upset. Some people were upset, and they said, why did you do this? You should have waited until you had the whole video, rendered and ready to post. And I see their point, but really there was some controversy. I mean, people don't need to be telling me to F off and the rest of the stuff that happened, clickbait, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But I'm new to Facebook of about maybe 10 days now. And YouTube, I mean,
Right.
nobody's really ever paid any attention to my channel. And I thought, if I put something like this out there, is anybody going to have any interest in it? And I found out probably the hard way that, yeah, they had interest, a lot of positive stuff, like 95% positive. But you know how the world is. There's always somebody that's going to say something difficult.
Exactly. Yeah, that does happen. So
Can't
what
take them to, by the way, Sean, can't take them to jail anymore.
Oh, I know, right? You were MP in the Marine Corps, so
Yes,
Semper Fi, hoorah.
amen.
Um,
Yeah, Semper Five.
so what we can do now is we can scrub through your video real quick. Right now it's unlisted, so only we can see it, and I think you posted on your Facebook.
Yeah. And boy, did I ever post it on my Facebook. I've got 500 friends on there, which I maybe know half of them. And but the groups, there's all the PPC groups out there. And when you're a member of that group, it's going to go out to a couple thousand people in some cases. So I haven't, I posted it about, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 hours ago now on Facebook and hit those groups. And so I'm starting to see, the replies and good job. And wow, was your wife ever cool? Because she was in the back seat of the thing. Yeah. So it's on Facebook.
Okay. Now, a lot of people that listen to my podcast they usually do PPG, which is power paragliding, a little bit different than the power parachute. So the difference is, I think I got this right, is that the power parachute, you need a sport license if it's a two-seater. Is that correct?
That's correct. You need a sport pilot's license, and you can get yourself started and get the train or the learning pilot license and fly yourself around and your instructor. But in order to fly any civilian around, then you have to have the license.
Okay. And real quick, I know that anything under 254 pounds is considered under the FAR 103, which is what we fly with the PPG. How heavy is a PPC?
That's a good question. I thought, and don't quote me on this now because it's been 6 full years since I've been involved, but I thought that there was a 1,000 or 1,200 something pound limit, that if it's above that, then it requires a different license. So I know that on the aircraft itself, you have to keep that check sheet of the balances, your payload, and everything like that. And I have all the old stuff. I just never thought to dig it out. I didn't know if you're going to ask anything about it or not. But no, it was definitely a license situation, and
Okay.
yeah.
All right. I just don't know a lot about it. I know that we have trikes that are similar. They look similar to the PPC. They have the two wheels in the back and one wheel in the front to steer, but it's usually one seater.
Yeah, there was a model that I was going to purchase that, and this is important to say. The model that I got, the manufacturer is Parachute, and the machine, it was an awesome machine. I mean, it was beautiful. But they also had a single seater. I think it was called the Rascal, but I'm not sure. It was white, but it's only a single seater, and you don't need the license for that. You can just jump in it and fly if you thought you could do it. And I'm sure people have tried that. I would never recommend that, but anyway, that was available to me, but I decided, I do not want to go through and fly and just entertain myself. And so I thought I'm going to involve my wife with this and anybody else that wants to fly. And so I ended up, I thought to myself, I have to have the two-seater. So that's why I went with it.
Okay, that makes sense. We are going to take a look at it right now. So I'm going to share my screen. You already shared it out there, so it's very possible that you guys already seen it as unlisted, but he's going to post it live after our podcast, so everyone will be able to see it. You already have 150 views. That's pretty good, and 11 thumbs up. So
good. Let's
go ahead and scrub through it. Okay, so we have the intro. It's a nice intro. It shows a bunch of, I guess, of who you were, what you've done in the past. And then it shows right before you're ready to go down. All right, so you do an intro, and now we're watching you guys getting into the vehicle. Now, tell us a little bit about how this works as far as like her getting in the vehicle and you clipping her in. How does that work?
Well, you first have to know a little bit of background on how many times I've flown with my wife. I thought it was 2, but we were talking about it today, and it was actually another flight. So 3 times my wife, Linda, has gone up for a ride. And aside from the fact that she enjoyed herself, there was a lot of scenery, and there was, good takeoffs, good landing. There was no incident whatsoever. And this time, though, this is the last time that she ever went up. And this is and by the way, nobody got critically hurt here. In fact, I want to talk about this if you would ask or remind me later about crash versus you just had an engine out, because I consider it a crash. But anyway, I want to talk about that later if you would remind me. But
absolutely.
So this is not the last time I flew. There was one other time after this, after the engine was replaced. And what I have to do with Linda is, and pretty much every other person that I had taken up before that, you want to make sure a lot of things are covered. Number one, they're strapped in properly. They have their headgear on. They have their goggles on, and also that they don't have any baseball caps or stocking caps or something in their pocket that's going to blow out, because if it blows out, it's going to go through the fan or through the prop, and then you've got issues. So,
you don't have a netting around it, do you?
No. And I have rarely ever seen netting. And I don't know why. I think I do, because there really isn't any place to put it. It would have to be a cone shaped, and it would have been maybe a good idea. But if you're diligent about it, there isn't anything that's going to fly through there. Maybe a bird. That has happened. I've seen that on YouTube, where a bird went through one and the guy lost his engine. He had to crash into a bean field or something. But no netting.
How many cameras do you have? I see a lot of cameras and a lot of camera angles.
Yep. I had 5 cameras running this day, plus the audio track, which was another camera, but I didn't use any of the video from that camera. So I had 6 cameras running that day. Now you're seeing a lot of other mounts. So if you're looking at my wife on her left shoulder above there, that's just a mount with an empty GoPro shell. And then there's another one on her right shoulder facing away from the aircraft. That's empty. So I have 5 GoPro cameras. And so at different times, I would put them in different locations on the aircraft so that I could get different views.
It looks like a really solid machine. Now, how many cc engine is this? And it's a two-stroke, correct?
It is a two-stroke. It's a Rotax 582 blue head. I think there's a difference. I think there's a gray head and a blue head. And I think the blue head was the newest and greatest at the time. I purchased this in 2012, or no, late 2011. And I drove all the way to the Little Rock, Arkansas area to pick that up, by the way. And
right next to me.
yeah, I know, and pulled it back with a trailer. And I got it back here and, started doing things to it, like those lights that you're seeing above my helmet. They weren't there. The radio wasn't there. Those helmet hangers weren't there. Obviously, all the GoPro stuff wasn't there. And also because I worked at the sheriff's department, our mechanic, he was the electrical tech, put all the sirens and lights in. Once a year, they would redo the squads. Well, they got a batch of strobe lights in that go in the grill of the squads. And they leaked. And so they had a little moisture in them after they were on there for a while. And so they took them off, and the manufacturer said, don't bother sending them back. Keep them. We'll send you some new ones. I had a strobe light on the top, a strobe light on the bottom, a strobe light on the front. I mean, just for kicks, I would light it up, just at dusk, and coming in and with all those lights on. I mean, it just looked amazing. So and I put a.
It looks like it's going pretty fast.
Sean,
what kind of airspeed can you get off of these?
I got to tell you, that's a really important question, because at some point in the video, you're going to hear me say 50. I looked up at my GPS and it said 51, 52 miles per hour. And powered parachutes, if there's no wind, they take off at 30. This one does. Takes off at 30, flies at 30, lands at 30. And so they've been given the nickname the flying lawn chair, because basically it doesn't do much of anything else. But given a 5-mile-an-hour headwind, you're going 25. Now, in this case, given a 21 and 22 mile an hour tailwind, I was going 51, 52 miles an hour. And so there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously you don't want to try to make a sharp turn with something forward speed like that. But I also have seen where I've taken off the runway and the ground wind speed was like 7 to 8 miles, 9 miles an hour. And 9 miles an hour was even kind of a high wind speed for this thing to take off in. So I would not do that. But I took off at that 7, 8. And when I got to 100 feet, I wasn't going forward anymore. It was basically a 25, 30 mile an hour headwind above where I was. And so you're only going along at 5 miles an hour then, trying to figure that out.
I see it bumping around now too.
We're hitting a turbulence. Yep. That Linda is now informed me that I'm not feeling quite well. And I had told her, we're heading back. And I explained that it was a thermal. And so we hit a thermal, and it started moving around quite a bit. And at that point, I didn't want to get my wife sick or have her feel uncomfortable. I noticed in the video, I didn't realize it until I started editing it, but she actually closed her eyes back there a few times when that happened, because she did not want to, get sick by watching the ground.
All right, see some lines out there. Is that how you're steering? Was just those lines out there?
I think it's the same way you steer. Aren't your lines on the tips of the canopy, and you pull or push or whatever you do, pull, and it brings in the tip of the parachute, and then that causes drag and you turn in that direction. Isn't that how paraglider works?
Similar. When we have
Motor,
two
by the
different.
way, Sean, I don't want to interrupt you, but if you want to stop it there,
Yeah, I am.
the motor just shut off.
Right.
It was like 56 or 57 seconds, something like that, where we're cruising along, and then all of a sudden it went from the normal tone of the motor working to kind of like 5 o'clock Charlie,
Right.
And I told my wife, I said, we have motor problems. She said, no, we don't.
I know she thought you were joking.
She did. Hi there. Someone else joined the channel.
Yeah, we got Linda Anderson. She is our cheerleader. She's on mute right now, so we can't hear her. She's trying to unmute herself. There you go.
I'm trying to get everything all, you know how that goes.
Yeah, no problem.
Check.
Hi, Linda.
Right.
All right. So we're about to watch the crash. So we just want to make sure that we know what's going on. And we were just talking about the lines going out. You have one single line going to the tip. Is that how that works?
Yeah, it's the front tip of each side of the wing. So that's going to cause a drag on that side. So when that line gets taut, the wing deforms on that side, and then we're gonna turn that way. And it's done with your feet. Now, at one point in the video, I actually reached up and grabbed the line. No, actually twice in the video. Once just before the crash, because I was heading for some trees and I knew I needed to get to my left as quick as I could. But the first time in the video, we saw a couple of deer, and the second deer, you'll see me reach up, grab that line and pull on it. And what that does is that dips that wing, and we actually turn toward that side of the aircraft. The second time.
No, you're saying that you.
Go ahead.
Oh, what I was saying is, so you said that you steer with your feet also. So there's lines to your feet. I didn't understand.
Yeah, that is how you steer. It's not practical to use your hands unless you want to or have to. There's two bars on the front of the machine in the middle. And so if I were to push on this one, it's pulling that cord down. And if I were to leave them alone, they're both straight, and we would just fly straight with no wind.
Okay. And when you're pulling the lines over there, that's just another way of steering also.
That's another way of steering. And it's also another way that you can steer more aggressively. So let's say we were headed for something we didn't want to hit. And in this case, there were trees there on my right that I thought we were going to end up hitting them. And so I was pushing on my left pedal because I wanted to go left. And I was also, I think you'll see me, I grabbed the line for a short time and I pulled it. So not only am I using my foot to take that slack out, but I'm holding on to the line and pulling it to even give it more of a turn.
Okay, that's interesting. It sounds like tip steering on our PPG. When we pull the brakes to actually steer, it goes to the trailing edge, different lines to the trailing edge. So the whole wing deforms on both sides. And then we also have something that's tip steering that just goes to the tip. And when you pull those, it deforms it and does a nice turn a little bit more aggressively.
I have to stand corrected. I do believe you are right. I believe that these lines go to the back.
I'm not sure. I've never seen one up front or up close.
I am almost certain of it right now. I mean, like I said, it's been 6 years since I've flown and actually even thought about that. But it does deform the wing on that side. I believe you're right. It's in the back. And that's like creates like a little cup and pulls, the wind catches in there and pulls it in that direction.
Yeah, I've never seen that before, but one of these days I might check it out. So anyway, let's go ahead and go back and check out the video and actually go through the actual crash scene. So I will share the sound also this time so we can actually listen to it.
If you could
and find out
back it
what's
up
going
just
on.
a little bit. If you could back it up to where we start having problems about a minute earlier. There you go. Right there.
It sounds awful. So what'd you feel when that started to do that, when it started to rattle like that?
It went from being normal, like a normal sound, like high pitch, too loud, steady, to like I was backing off on the throttle, and I wasn't. And then after that, it's like I said, it stayed from the very first second that it started doing that to about 55 or 57 seconds later when it shut itself all the way off.
So what were you thinking? Yeah, I see you pull the line there. And right now you're probably looking for a place to land, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to interject here if you want to stop just for a second. There was a field that was behind me to begin with. I now made a 90-degree turn, and I wanted to land into the wind, obviously.
Obviously, if you're doing 50 some miles an hour, I understand.
Well, I wanted to turn and go 180 degrees in the opposite direction so that I would land in this really nice, smooth field, no obstruction, no issues. And there was no way to be able to do that because there wasn't enough distance. There was too much distance between me and where I wanted to be. There's a road in the way,
right.
High power lines, trees, cars. And so I had to land crosswind. And so that's why you're going to see this back and forth like that. And that's not normal. I've never, ever had that situation where it's been like this. You're always into the wind and it's nice and smooth. And, you know,
yeah, I saw the oscillation when I watched the video. And there it goes. It's dead. And she's just encouraging you to land softly. Sounds like a good woman.
He says, very good, very good. You've done this before, she says.
Yeah.
I talked to her about that later. I've never done that before.
Well, I see that you're moving back and forth, back and forth. Like, you know, I see the oscillation.
So as long as we're
and
here,
it looks,
as long as we're here on this, I wanted to say this topic of, is this a crash or is this a engine out landing or what? Now I'm going to, maybe it's not a crash, and I'm sure it's not in some people's books, but after this incident, I had to check to find out what FAA says about this situation.
yeah.
There had to be a certain amount of injury to the person. I think it was required medical attention, or a significant dollar amount to the aircraft. And so it didn't meet any one of those. So there was never a report. But as a deputy sheriff, if you are in a car and you hit a tree and no one got hurt and no one went to the hospital and there wasn't a certain amount of dollar damage to your vehicle, I still call you hitting a tree with a car crash. But you know what? In Wisconsin, that's a non-reportable accident. You don't have to fill out any forms. We don't have to fill out any forms for you. So I've had people on, Facebook, responding to me and going, nice clickbait. You shouldn't have posted this like that. F you, this is not right. Blah, blah, blah. This is not a crash. And so, I guess it's your own opinion of however you feel about that. And I really wasn't going to talk about this tonight, but I'm kind of like, sometimes I wear my feelings on my shirt sleeve and it kind of bothers me a little. I guess I'm going to have to get a thicker skin, Sean.
Well, I mean, this is good that we're doing a podcast like this, because right now what we can do is we can show what happened and then ask people to post a comment and say, was this a crash or was this an emergency landing?
Well, I wanted to tell you too, the damage to the PPC was the axle and a part of the airframe. So,
And the motor too was.
well, yeah, the motor was destroyed.
So how much is a motor for something like this?
Well, we were talking, you and I privately about this earlier, and the person I bought it from, which I don't even remember his name. I have the records, but I don't want to know right now because it's not really important. But this guy was a jet pilot for a passenger carrier. I don't know which one it was. I forgot. And he also had a mechanics certification, not just for his PPC, but for other aircraft. And when I went to pick it up, he was in a hangar that he owned. So, and he was a younger, middle-aged guy, I guess, at that time. But the point is that this guy bought it brand spanking new from Parachute, flew it for I think it was 87 hours, then sold it. And then after I got it, I realized that there's periodic maintenance that I cannot do. And that includes the annual at that point. Later on, I did get my license for my own annual. But in that process, I had taken it to a aircraft mechanic shop that has an airport, and they're very well known. I won't say the name, but in our area, they're known. And they're the ones that did, the 100-hour inspection on it. No, at no time did I have to dump hundreds and hundreds of dollars into having that engine taken apart and having new bearings put in or replaced or whatever, just as a preventative maintenance.
Right.
And so I forget where I was going with this, other than the fact that
the engine had 115 hours on it when the bearings went out, and it caused this, and you just had 100-hour maintenance. So we have a bunch of people in the chat real quick. So let's say hi Bill H. Your Dan Keys is on here. Michael Pendleton, David Wolf, and we got a couple of questions. So let's go ahead and check out what we got here. Can you play my song I made? Was that for me? I don't know. Maybe it's for somebody else. Let's see. There was a question. Where is it? Oh, did you check the winds aloft before launching? David Wolf asked.
Well, David, let me tell you that what I carried in my powered parachute container, or my trailer, was a helium tank and balloons. And what I would do before I went up each time is I would take and send up a balloon and look at which way the wind direction is going and how fast that balloon's flying away from me before I took off every single time.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Well, and the tank was inexpensive, and it was a huge thing to be able to know which way that wind is going and how fast that balloon's going away. So I do believe, I can't say that, I swear on a stack of Bibles that I did it that day, but I'm pretty strict about certain things. And that's one of the things I did every single time. So I would say that I did know which way the wind direction was, but I did not feel that it was something that was going to cause me a problem that day.
All right, let's go ahead and watch the crash here, and we're going to try to wrap this all up by 7 o'clock in the next 10 minutes, because there's other podcasters out there that go out and podcast tonight. So we don't want to run over anybody's feet. So let's go ahead and watch this.
Very good. Excellent. Hang on. Okay.
I don't know what happened to it.
I don't know either.
Motor just shut off. You all right?
Yeah, the back of my neck hurts a little, but it's all right.
Are you sure?
Uh-huh, I'm all right.
It looked like you hit really hard. You said your axle broke too, right?
Yeah, it didn't break in half or anything. It bent where it could not be used anymore. And then that part of the airframe took some damage.
And then you go through and you show us some of the things that happen, like when your piston's head is all beat up. And you also were talking about your bearings were gone. So we think that the bearings went through and banged up your head. Is that what you think happened?
Well, I don't think that the head probably was anything to do with why it stopped. There was something inside that one cylinder that tore it up. Now you stopped it there, so you can see the bearings in that piston rod are there. And then the other piston rod, there isn't one bearing left. The only thing I can think of is that the mechanic took them out of the bottom of the crankcase and threw them away. Now, in the video, when you watch the entire video, you'll see that piston rod with no bearings travels about, I'm going to guess and say, 1/4 of an inch further down than it should, which caused it to hit the bottom of the crankcase over and over and over again repeatedly until finally the crankcase broke, where air, I'm sure, was getting sucked in, and so there was no more fuel because those two.
Losing him, or am I gone?
What's that? I'm not sure what you're asking. So my thought on it was that the crankcase developed a hole, and therefore, because the two-stroke motors use the ambient pressure inside of that crankcase to draw in fuel, it did not draw in fuel and starved the motor, and finally it went down. Linda, it looks like it's just you and me. I'm not sure, but I think and your audio's off, but I think that Sean's internet crashed. Let's see if he's going to join us.
I know, huh?
Yeah,
I know he muted me. He's been muting me, and I'm like, hi.
yeah, because
I'm just hanging out.
There he is. He's back. We carried on without you, Sean.
Yeah.
No, we can't hear you, Sean. We can't hear you.
Gotcha. My internet crashed. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what we said. Yeah.
We're like,
You crashed, and then my internet crashed.
Yeah.
It's just awful.
Hey, I wanted to answer your one question. If I can do that real quick.
Yeah.
You said, how much did it cost? Because I had all these cameras running and I took it to the mechanic shop to do that, they sent the video to Rotax, and Rotax in Austria sent a brand new engine at no charge.
But how much would it normally cost?
10,000 is what I was told. And then I paid $1,000 to have it installed.
Wow.
So right now there's a farmer that at least back then, he's the one who bought it from me. It was working fine. He didn't have a license. He came up, bought everything I had, lock, stock, and barrel, helmets, microphones, everything, except the helium tank. And he is going to be using it. In fact, he probably still has it as an inspection tool for his crops. So I'm sure it was a write-off, but he immensely enjoyed it. He got a hold of me after he got his license and posted a picture one time with him in a Santa Claus outfit flying in a red powered parachute.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. So I guess what we'll have to do is ask everyone that's watched this, was this a crash? Because 10,000 plus another 1,000 plus whatever you had to repair the the landing gear. That was a significant amount of damage, and your wife had her neck hurt.
Yeah.
So the question is to everyone that's watching this, was this a crash or emergency landing? We will find out soon. So Jerry's going to go live on his YouTube channel with this video, so you guys can go there and check it out. The link to his channel is down below in the description, and check it out, subscribe, because hopefully he'll get himself back in the air. I mean, we need to give him some encouragement. The cheaper way of doing it is to go trike with the PPG. You don't need the license, and a lot lighter, and it's a lot less. I mean, 10,000 for an engine? Wow, I would never get into this sport if it was that expensive. But Jerry, thank you so very much for joining us. Linda, thank you for joining us also. Let us know in the comments down below what y'all think, and we will catch you next time. And what's going on tonight, Linda Anderson?
Paraglidingtalk.com in an hour.
In an hour. So make sure you go to paraglidingtalk.com and check out
Robert
them.
Michaels. Yep, my paraglider. I'm the paramom, Gerald, of Robert Michaels. So
Good deal. Good deal. Thanks for having me, Sean.
Absolutely. Y'all have a great evening.
I have to friend you, Gerald. I saw your video today. So and then I tagged Sean. I'm like, I gotta watch this. Your wife was very brave. I would have been like freaking out when that motor went off. I would have been like, okay, we're done. But she was so calm and
Well, I want to say one thing about that. I'm a born again Christian. My wife is too, and we just give all the credit to the Lord.
You. There you go. There you go. All right, you be safe.
All right, guys. Y'all have a great one. Thank you so much for watching this. This is our bonus episode 47, but we'll still have our regular episode 48 coming up this next Monday at 7 p.m. Central. And you can always go to clearproptv.com and like our page. Hey, thank you once again. Y'all have a great evening, and we are signing off. So what do you think?
That's what we do.
Jerry, did you enjoy yourself? Was this a pretty good podcast?
Yeah, it was. I had a lot to say, didn't I?
Oh, all good, all good. No, this was cool.
Yeah, Sean, I wish I could get back into it, but like I said, it would have to be a 2-seater and it would have to be a 4-stroke motor. I already checked out the pricing on it years ago. We're talking 40,000 minimum, 55,000 with the trailer. I mean, and you don't have any insurance on something like that. I don't think I can do it.
I totally understand that.
Well, why is my dad trying to FaceTime me right now? Dads. But you can do trike with a 4-stroke under PPG without having license, insurance, and inspections and all that crap. So that might be a way to go too.
It might. I'll have to look into it. It's down the road a piece for sure. Just being retired.
I mean, we're only talking. I mean, you're talking. Everything. About 15,000. I think that's with the wing too.
Yeah.
With the 4-stroke. It's a cheap way of doing it. And you can get yourself tandem certified, which means that you can put another seat on there and still take your wife up.
Yeah. I mean, how many horsepower are we talking about?
I have no clue how many power,
Yeah.
but many people are going up doing the trike tandem. Matter of fact, go check out Tucker Gott, and he's bringing people up, and it goes the same speed, about 30 miles an hour.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, this is Linda. I don't know if you knew this or not, but I'm new to Facebook of about 10 days. And,
okay.
And Messenger and YouTube within about the last 2 weeks, if I ever really posted anything, worthwhile. But I have not thought about flying just because of the money. So anyway, thank you, Sean.
It's a lot cheaper going PPG.
Yeah,
trike.
Thank you, Linda. If I can somehow, you said you're going to send me a video or something that you were going to record it for me?
Yeah, this right here is being recorded. And then once it's rendered on Zoom, then I should be able to send you a link and you should be able to download our Zoom meeting. And then you should be able to upload it on your channel, and you are welcome to upload it
Thank
to
you.
your channel. And
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
absolutely. Matter of fact, all of our podcasts that we ever do, I mean, Linda can upload all of our podcasts if she wants to her YouTube. I mean, I don't care who uploads it. The more the merrier, I think.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how the viewing part of it's going. I don't know, my analytics channel here, videos. Wow, was it 150? Now it's at 450.
Yeah. Yep. That's all we have to do is put
And
it
if
out
they
there
watch,
for a minute on a podcast.
and if they watch the whole thing, Sean, so 450 times 16 minutes, that's 7,200 minutes divided by 60. That's 120 hours. Only 3,800 and something to go.
You'll get monetized in no time, and you'll get your.
Yeah, we'll see.
Once you get 1,000 people that subscribe, you
Yeah.
should have enough views to monetize. It's just getting yourself up there.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is there's a lot of stuff that I do. I mean, you guys are pretty much straight on with the flying, and I'm doing everything. I got 27,000 views of a